Mr Agnew, now is your turn.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to support and back up my colleague Mr Kareen here on the subject of environmental schemes. We don't feel you answered our question, Commissioner. There are many people in Britain who have land in environmental schemes. It may occupy 1% of their farmland. What they want to know is, will this 1% count towards the 7% of greening that you intend to bring in, or will the 7% of greening be additional to the 1% they have already put in? As these schemes last for 5 years, many of them are having to renew this year, and they need to know. If it is going to be additional, they will simply not go into these contracts.
No. What we suggested will not have an impact on existing contracts which those farmers are already involved in for the Rural Development Programme. It's not the 7%, that's just one of the measures. It's aimed at environment-friendly infrastructure in a farm. In other words, land areas which have vegetation but not for crop production or agricultural production. But if a British farmer with support from the Rural Development Programme plants trees or around a plot of land, then that area of land will be included in the 7% and will enable the farmer to continue to enjoy that specific support in the context of the Rural Development Programme, the one he has a contract for. But these new measures are not multi-annual and they're not contractual. They are for 1 year at a time. What the farmers are doing with their contract with the government will continue after 2013, and will continue until 2013 and continue afterwards if we decide to keep the programme going. So if the farmer has maintained areas of land in an environment-friendly fashion, that will be part of the 7%. He won't have to do that over and above.
Thank you. Supplementary?
Thank you, Commissioner. That was actually very helpful. And it's a big thing for me to say that to a Commissioner. What about capping? We're talking about splitting businesses to harvest more subsidy payments. Yes, it's very tempting, but there are genuine reasons for doing this. However, to try and demonstrate that it's a genuine reason, it could cost a huge amount in legal fees and take 2 or 3 years to establish. I'd like you just to comment on that. On the issue of cropping, well, this is madness. Surely you can see that forcing farmers to grow 3 different crops of certain percentages. One of our members, NFU members in Britain, said this is Stalinist. I mean, it is. And how is it going to help the environment? And finally, can you convince anyone at all that by taking 7% of crop production out of the EU is going to improve the world's weather? Thank you, Chairman.
Well, you asked me 2 questions. One about the capping, the limit, and the other on the 7%. The 7% of environment-friendly infrastructure. On that 7%, I can make it quite clear. It doesn't mean you have to take 7% of your arable land out of cultivation. You can also look after strips of land, areas around the edge of fields and so on, by planting trees, for example. They don't have to be productive. At the moment, anything like that would not be eligible for the subsidy, but from 2014, with our proposals, things like that will be eligible, but in fact we'll be encouraging farmers to maintain that, because alongside their productive arable land, all these little areas will play an important part in biodiversity. Now, on the capping of direct aid, it won't prevent producers from making the choices they want to make for their production. Starting 2014, you have to justify the support to farmers, starting from a certain amount for very big companies. We could be handing out unlimited amounts of public money. So that's why we said there should be a cap, €3 million. So that's quite a big farm, if it hires a lot of workers, in addition to that amount, they could have some more payments, but under direct aid. But big farms will always be able to benefit by other types of support under the CAP for innovation, for modernisation and so on. Direct payments are not the only form of support for larger farms under the CAP. But we need more transparency and need more effectiveness as well in the way we use public money, and that is why we have suggested limits to direct payments, but the door is open to other types of projects which can improve the competitiveness of a large farm.
Thank you, Commissioner.